So, given that this is the 10th anniversary year for A Line Through Time, I'm doing a bunch more episodes than I usually would, including some ones that people probably have wanted for a while. There are a few episodes I've scripted over the years that just never panned out for various reasons. There's, I think, 3 of them, and I'll be doing green screen readings for those as well. For now, we're just doing the quick, simple one because I need to get a video out because I'm in a bit of a slump, so this short 3-page one should be good enough. You'll see just how early on this is with the first thing said in this script. But this was a really early one. I think back when I used to do by seasons, it'd be season 2, I think. Super early on, around 2017 or so. I think I would ask people what series they'd want to see on A Line Through Time, and quite a lot of people suggested Kirby. I thought, okay, I'll give Kirby a shot. You'll see by the end why it didn't pan out. I don't think the script has been touched at all since then. It's just been waiting for something to be done with it. Yeah, so you know the drill by now. I just read off the script. If I'm looking here, then that means I'm reading from the script. I'll try to look directly at the camera when I'm not, just to make it a bit more clear. And so as I read this, you'll start to see that for this episode, I just did the research and wrote the script at the same time. So I'll be like, okay, here's what happens here, write that, move on to the next game. Because I'm not a Kirby fan. I've played a demo for a couple of them. It's just not for me. But I would have done an episode if not for one very particular problem that came up. Let's see if you can spot what that problem was. Welcome to A Line Through Time, where I'm celebrating 10,000 subscribers. Yeah, that's like 100k ago. You can see, like I said, just how long ago this was. And this is the thing you'll see with all of these unmade episodes. This was a very different time. I might be a bit more aggressive with some of these scripts. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully, I didn't say anything that will get me cancelled. I guess we'll find out together. Celebrating 10,000 subscribers by giving you guys the video a small number of you have been asking for. Yes, more people have asked for Mario, but no. I said that was a Patreon goal early on, was a Mario episode. I think there was another one. It might have been like King of Fighters. But Mario's one of those I just don't see a point in doing. I think, broadly speaking, the one Matt Pat did years ago, it was quite good. Based on my limited knowledge of a lot of the Mario games, because Mario's another series that I'm a very, very casual fan of. Obviously, there's stuff about there being 2 Marios, not canon, but it was an interesting idea. Another series has a fair few weird spin-offs, like Mario or Sonic, so keep in mind that I do consider them canonical if they have a story. Kirby started with Kirby's Dream Land in 1992 on the Game Boy. Obligatory trivia. Directed by Masahiro Sakurai of Super Smash Bros. Fame. That's what the footage you see in the background is. Named after the lawyer who won Nintendo's case against Universal, Miyamoto wanted Kirby to be yellow, Sakurai wanted pink, he was white because of the Game Boy color palette and pink later, American Kirby is hardcore, etc, etc. Yeah, just a bunch of early memes. There's really not much to say about the first Kirby entry, because I don't think there's much established here that you need to know to understand later entries. I don't think it's like a Resident Evil or a Metal Gear, you know? There aren't like decades worth of Kirby games that are all... You need to understand the plot of the first Kirby game, because all these prequel games are leading up to it, you know? 1993's Kirby's Adventure on the NES is presumably a sequel. The same year, Kirby's Pinball Land released later... Kirby's Pinball Land released later that year on Game Boy. So as you can see, I didn't even technically finish a first draft. Obviously, that's something that I would have picked up on with like one round of proofreading. That would not have made it through. But here it is, preserved for almost a decade, because I was never going to make this episode. The same year, Kirby's Pinball Land released later that year on Game Boy with no plot, so it doesn't count. The following year, Kirby debuted on the SNES with Kirby's Dream Course, a mini-golf game with no plot. Slight correction, also with no plot. It's important that you know exactly what was in the script, so you can understand exactly what you never got as a real episode. The year after that, Kirby's Avalanche, or Kirby's Ghost Trap in Europe, is the Western release of Super Puyo Puyo with the same plot, but with Kirby characters. Since the game isn't a Kirby game in Japan and has never released there, I'm inclined to believe that this is also non-canonical. I do wonder if that has changed since. Like, that's the thing, is some of the information could just be outdated, not just there's certain games not mentioned, it could be maybe that did get released in the decade since. Maybe Nintendo's like, that's a cool bit of trivia for Nintendo fans. Like, they've done that with the Mario 2 that was not actually Mario 2. You know, they released the different version of Mario 2 in various collections. So I wonder if they've done that with Kirby. I don't care enough to look it up, but, you know, if they have, let me know in the comments. That would be interesting to learn, even though I don't care enough to learn it myself. While this going quicker than I thought it would, this is going quicker, another typo, I don't speak that way. The same year, a proper sequel, Kirby's Dream Land 2, released on the Game Boy, and yet Kirby got to be pink this time. Again, it's probably a sequel. Then there was Kirby's Block Ball the same year, a breakout clone with no plot. I think this may have been the point where I was starting to realise what exactly I'd gotten myself into. 1996's Kirby Superstar is a minigame collection. There are actual scenarios in some of them, including a remake of Dreamland. I'm inclined to assume they all go together in a group here. So essentially, in the same way that the Resident Evil remakes replaced the originals, I think I was going to place this over the original and just say all the other scenarios occur around the same time as it in the timeline. Then came 97's Kirby's Sticker Star, which has no plot. Luckily, Kirby's Dreamland 3 descended from on high to save us from the purgatory we've been trapped within. That's a decent enough joke. Obviously, it comes after Dreamland 2. The series then moved on to the N64 with Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, in 2000. And yes, my friends, it does have a story. It seems to be another sequel. The same year, the Game Boy received Kirby Tilt and Tumble, which I swear I first read as Tit and Tumble. That's not the kind of joke I would make now. I am much more mature. I would rather make dog shocking jokes. That's how much more mature I am. It's an accelerometer-focused action puzzle game, and I'd be more confused if I hadn't already done the Sonic timeline. It's still kind of insane that I launched the show with a 45-minute Sonic deep dive going through all the games, not just the mainline ones. After a 2002 remake of Adventure, maybe this is Resident Evil, Kirby Air Ride released on the GameCube in 2003. It's a racing game with no plot. In 2004, the GBA saw Kirby and the Amazing Mirror released with a story. Again, likely a sequel. In 2005, Kirby Canvas Curse, Kirby Power Paintbrush in Europe, released on the DS, another sequel. I don't know if I would have just given this amount of information in a full episode. I might have gone in and actually discussed what actually happens in some of the plots. I think this was just kind of like a skeleton of what the script would be, and then I'd go back and flesh it out a bit more. Because this just tells you nothing, really. But, you know, to be fair. Squeak Squad released in 2006 on DS. I fucking remember that name. Oh, terrible. I'm just going to stop saying it's a sequel unless it's not, because you can pretty safely assume it is at this point because there's no ongoing plot whatsoever. That's the point where I realised what I was in for. In 2010, Kirby's Epic Yarn released on the Wii, with Kirby being turned into Yarn and sent to Patchland because Nintendo and their primary developers have the most literal naming sense in the world. There's Kirby Mass Attack and Return to Dreamland from 2011, 2014's Triple Deluxe, 2015's Rainbow Curse, 2016's Planet Robobot, 2017's Battle Royale, and Battle Royale? Kirby Fortnite? Oh, I should cut that, but I won't. In 2018... and 2018's Star Allies. Okay, so it was 2018 when I wrote this. That's where the series was up to. And there's nothing special about this timeline, nothing worth explaining or discussing because it's all linear. Why did you people want me to make this? Honestly, I'd have cancelled this episode if I hadn't already promised it as a thank you for reaching 10,000 subscribers. Oh. Well. Tough shit. I looked at timelines formed by fans out of the series and they always got debunked. So if the fans can't figure this out, how can I? I guess I'll have to finalise it here and say that if you disagree with my assessment, feel free to explain in the comments, just don't be a dick about it, yeah? Fucking 8 years later and it's still not gotten through people's thick skulls. Just don't be a dick online. It's not difficult, okay? Oh, and if you're thinking of saying that I or my video suck harder than Kirby, then kindly get fucked and die. Obviously, that's a joke. I don't want people to die over a stupid joke. That would be silly, ridiculous, but it is kind of true. So, yeah. But yeah, without further ado, the seemingly complete linear Kirby timeline goes a little something like this. It's been a while since I've done one of those. I just stopped putting them in the actual episodes at a certain point, but King DDD steals Dreamland's food and Sparkling Star. Kirby defeats DDD and takes them back. Well, it says and take them back, but that would have been fixed. D-Dead. That would have been fixed. D-Dead breaks... I should just reread it unironically. DDD breaks the Star Rod to protect the Fountain of Dreams from Nightmare. Kirby restores the Star Rod and defeats Nightmare. He and DDD reconcile. Dark Matter possesses DDD and steals the Rainbow Bridge from the Rainbow Islands. Kirby defeats Nightmare and restores both DDD and the bridge. I thought I'd mistyped DDD as like DD-do or something like that, but no, I'm losing it. Dynablade accidentally destroys Dreamland's crops in her attempts feed her chicks. to feed her chicks. Kirby helps to feed them and teach them to fly. Kirby races DDD in Gourmet World to eat more food than his rival. Kirby falls into a cave and discovers the treasure hidden within. Meta Knight invades Dreamland to end its lazy ways. Kirby defeats Meta Knight and brings down the battleship Halberd. Marx tricks Sun and Moon into fighting so he can summon Galactic Nova and wish for control of Planet Popstar. Sun and Moon assist Kirby in destroying both Nova and Marx. Meta Knight resurrects Nova to wish for a battle with the greatest warrior in the galaxy. Nova summons Galactonite, who is destroyed by Meta Knight. Zero destroys Dreamland with dark matter. Kirby confronts Zero and destroys it. Dark matter attacks Planet Ripplestar to steal the Great Crystal, shattering it in the process. The Furry Ribbon teams up with Kirby to restore the crystal. They do so and destroy both dark matter and the restored Zero. Dark Matter attempts to corrupt the Mirror World. Dark Meta Knight splits Kirby into 4. They defeat Dark Meta Knight and Dark Mind and save the Mirror World. The witch Draucia turns Dreamland into a world of paint. Kirby pursues her to her own world and destroys her with the magical paintbrush. Yeah, so I didn't write any kind of conclusion or epilogue to this because I think by the time I was done with this part, I just realised that there's nothing to make here. Even if I had promised it, there was just nothing to actually do with this script because it's nothing. Again, while A Line Through Time does have certain elements of being a retrospective, you know, some of them in particular, I'm just like, you know, here's what people thought of this game, here's what it added to the series and whatnot. I've done that sometimes, but at the end of the day, that's not the main focus. It's just a neat little extra touch that can make an episode a little better, I think. But when you're actually looking at something like this, that's all it is, because there's nothing here. Nothing here for a timeline. It's just every story just occurs right after the previous one. It's nonsense. It's a complete waste of time. I don't know why so many people were requesting this. It's not like it was a massive number, but I saw it as a recurring thing. A bunch of people suggested it, so I thought there must be something here. And then when I made it, turns out there isn't anything here. Maybe in the time since, the more recent entries have been like, oh, this one's actually a prequel. This one's set in the middle of the franchise. Which even then, it's not really much worth talking about, I would imagine. So sometimes people ask for things and they just don't think it through. Sometimes people just like, I want this thing. Would it be any good? Probably not. So yeah, I am putting this 100% on you people who requested this a bunch like a decade ago. I'm holding a grudge. I'm calling you out. I don't know your names. I'm sure if I look back on the videos from that time in the comment sections, I can find you and I can hunt you down and take you out, because that's what you deserve for putting me through all this anguish all these years. This episode has been clawing at the back of my mind and not being able to forget about it. It's just constantly popping up, telling you, haha, you didn't make that Kirby episode, did you? You scripted it, it was a waste of time, but you didn't actually make it, and those people you promised it to, they never got what they wanted. Good. I'm glad they didn't get what they wanted. Fuck them. If you like this video, watch more.